Hi guys, let's talk a little bit more about integer addition and subtraction, multiplication and division, just dealing with positives and negatives. So this is another teacher's way of explaining this. Maybe it's helpful to you. Here we have the map of the United States, and Los Angeles is over here, and we have this saying, Los Angeles is in the United States. So LA, like signs add, US, unlike signs subtract. So let me pop back up here really quick and look at some addition. So here we have L, A, and US. LA is in the US, right? So like signs add. So here we have like signs. So we're going to add and keep the sign, right? And then here we have unlike signs in number 3, a positive and a negative. So unlike signs, we're going to subtract. 1 minus 1 is 0. We don't need a sign for 0. So hopefully that's kind of helpful. And then when we want to talk about multiplication and division, here are some funny sayings. When good things happen to good people, that's good. Okay, so basically we're saying when we have a positive times a positive or a positive divided by a positive, that's going to be a positive. Okay, when good things happen to bad people, that's bad. So if we have a positive times or divided by a negative, we're going to have a negative for the answer. When bad things happen to good people, that's bad. So if I have a negative divided by or times a positive, I'm going to get a negative. And then when bad things happen to bad people, that's good. It's a little harsh, but maybe good for memorizing. So a negative divided by or times a negative is going to give me a positive. So this is what I was just saying in the last lesson. If we have same signs, we're always going to get a positive. Negative, negative makes a positive, and positive, positive makes a positive. If we have different signs, then we're always going to get a negative. Positive and a negative make a negative, negative and a positive make a negative. So that's for multiplication and division. Okay, so you might want to take a minute to pause this and write this down in your math notebook. So like for addition and subtraction, like signs add, unlike signs subtract. For multiplication and division, same signs make a positive and different signs make a negative. And you could rewind this to where I don't have it marked on the smiley faces and frowny faces if you wanted. So going back up to our problems here, I started with these. So on number 2 and number 4, negative 6 plus negative 1, like signs add, right? And negative 5 and negative 3, like signs add, keep the sign. If you think back to my lesson on Tuesday, I had bad guys and bad guys make more bad guys. Bad guys and bad guys make more bad guys. But when we have different ones, then we have a battle and they cancel each other out. Okay, so now let's talk about difference. Okay, this was sum. Sum means add. Write that in your math notebook too. You need to have that as a vocabulary word. Okay, if I want to talk about difference, difference means subtract. Write that in your math notebook. But if you will remember, I told you that there's no such thing as subtraction. Subtraction is add the opposite. Or I like to say change. So negative 6 minus 3 becomes negative 6 plus negative 3. So you can see that I leave the first number alone, change the subtraction to addition, and then also change the next number. It's really important that you do 2 changes or you'll get it wrong. Okay, that would equal, then we just go back up here, like signs add, right? Negative 9. Here I'm going to change. This just becomes 7 plus 1, which is 8. Here I have change. Now I have like signs. I have 2 negatives. So I'm going to get negative 11. Change. So I have 3 and negative 8. US, unlike signs, subtract. 8 minus 3 is 5, and the bigger one wins. Or if you think about bad guys and good guys, I got 3 good guys, 8 bad guys. When they fight, they're equally matched. There are 5 bad guys left over. Yeah, I might have you do some of those. But let's talk about product. Okay, remember, if I have same signs, it's going to make a positive. If I have different signs, it's going to make a negative. So I could go right through these and know that this answer is going to be negative, 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 positive. Negative, 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 positive. Okay, the only 2 that have the same like signs are these 2, and they're going to make a positive. Everything else on here has 1 negative and 1 positive, doesn't matter the order. And so when we multiply them, we're going to get a negative. All right, let's look at this little flow chart right here. For adding and subtracting, for addition, we ask ourselves, does it have like signs? Well, then I add it and keep the sign. Does it have unlike signs? Well, then I subtract and keep the bigger sign, keep the bigger sign. For subtraction, I'm going to change to addition and change the sign. So see, even another teacher wrote it. Change, add the opposite. Are they like signs then? Okay, then once we do that, basically we've gone here, right? We don't even really have to rewrite this. This is really the same thing as this. Okay, so subtraction, you don't need to learn something different. You just learn how to change it to addition, and then you do the addition rules. Okay, for multiplication and division, I multiply the numbers for multiplication, and then I look to see what sign is going to be. Positive and positive is positive. Negative and negative is positive. Negative and positive and negative is negative, and negative and positive is negative. Okay, that's harder to say than to do. For division, I divide the numbers, and then I do the same rules. The only thing that's different is the division sign or the multiplication sign. Okay, here are some more examples, but I particularly want to come down to number 35. What happens if I multiply more than 2 numbers? Okay, so here I'm going to just do the multiplication, 6 times 3 times 5, and get that number. Okay, but to figure out the sign, I'm going to count the number of negatives. Here I have 1 negative and 2 negatives. An even number, 2 is an even number. And so I'm going to get a positive answer. All right, for number 36, I am going to multiply the numbers, 9 times 7 times 9, and then I'm going to look at the number of negatives. There's 1. 1 is an odd number, and an odd number is going to give me a negative. Okay, for number 37, I multiply the numbers. I count the number of negatives. There are 2. Same thing as here. 2 is an even number, so I'm going to get a positive answer. Same thing for number 38. I see 2 negatives. I'm going to get a positive. 39, I have 1, 2, 3. 3 is an odd number, so I'm going to get a negative. For number 40, I have 1, two negatives. That's an even number. I'm going to get a positive answer. Number 41, I have 1, 2. That's an even number. I'm going to get a positive. For 42, I have only 1. And 1 is an odd number, so I'm going to get a negative. Okay? The multiplication is what it is. We do the multiplication, and then we have to figure out what sign. For division, we do the same thing, same rule as multiplication. So negative divided by negative is going to give me a positive. Same signs gives me a positive. 44, same signs, going to give me a positive. But look at 45. Positive divided by a negative, negative. If they're different, it's going to be negative. That is when good things happen to bad people, it's bad. Okay? That's not how I remember it. If it works for you, that's great. Okay, here we have a positive divided by a negative. We're going to get a negative. Look, a positive divided by a positive is a positive. That's what you were doing way back when you first started dividing. And by the way, fractions are just division problems. So this is just 18 divided by 3. And this is just 12 divided by 6. And positive divided by positive is a positive number. Here I have negative divided by negative. It's going to equal a positive. Negative divided by positive. Those are different. It's going to be negative. Positive divided by negative. It's going to be negative. Okay, you're getting the idea.